And we are now 284 days away from the midterms. Today, for the first time, former DOJ special counsel Jack Smith testified publicly about his investigation into Donald Trump in the aftermath of the 2020 election. Watch this.
I stand by my decisions as special counsel, including the decision to bring charges against President Trump. Our investigation developed proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump engaged in criminal activity. If asked whether to prosecute a former president based on the same facts today, I would do so regardless of whether that president was a Democrat or a Republican. No one should be above the law in this country, and the law required that he be held to account. That statement is consistent with what we found in our investigation, in that our investigation revealed that Donald Trump was not looking for honest answers about whether there was fraud in the election. He was looking for ways to stay in power. And when people told him things that conflicted with him staying in power, he rejected them.
Do you believe that President Trump's Department of Justice will find some way to indict you?
I believe that they will do everything in their power to do that because they've been ordered to by the president.
And as if on cue, President Trump immediately posted that based on Smith's testimony today, he should be prosecuted for, at a minimum, quote, large-scale perjury. And if right now you're screaming at your TV, for what? I screamed the same thing, too. And the answer, Republicans accuse Smith of interfering in the democratic process by trying to muzzle a presidential candidate. But here's the thing. They did not produce any new evidence that supports that argument. Congressman Darrell Issa accused Smith of spying for seeking a court order for phone records of 9 Republican senators. Watch this.
Why is it that no one should be informed, including the judges? As you went in to spy on these people, did you mention that you were spying on seeking records so you could find out about when conversations occurred between the U.S. Speaker of the House and the president? Did you inform the judge, or did you hold that back?
My office didn't spy on anyone.
Wait a second. The question I asked you, Mr. Smith, was pretty straightforward.
And if right now you're saying, what, again? Well, then let me just remind you. Those records provided a log of calls and text messages. They did not disclose any of the contents of any communications. Meanwhile, Democrats asked Jack Smith about the Republicans who told Trump he lost the election. Watch this.
Who are some of the Republican witnesses who told you that who told President Trump that his claims of election fraud were false? Can you share that with us?
There were a range of witnesses. They ranged from people on his campaign team who had wanted him to win, were employed to help him win the election. They included state officials, state Republican officials who wanted him to win, voted for him, campaigned for him, asked him and his co-conspirators to provide evidence to support their claims, and invariably they never did.
While this 5-hour hearing was going on, Vice President Vance was in Minnesota defending the behavior and tactics of ICE agents there. Watch this.
This is part of a broad effort to make us safe, and the chaos that people are seeing, and I understand there is frustration of the chaos. I'd say that we're doing everything that we can to lower the temperature, and we would like state and local officials to meet us halfway.
And if that visit to Minnesota today felt like an attempt at damage control, this might explain why. A new poll from the New York Times has brutal numbers for the president overall. Only 32% of American voters say the country is better off than we were a year ago. That same poll found 63% of voters disapprove of how ICE is handling its job. That immediately sparked social media threats from Trump himself. He said he would add that poll to the lawsuit he currently has against the Times, claiming that so-called fake polls are out of control and that they should be virtually a criminal offense. All right, with that, let's get smarter with the help of our leadoff panel this evening. Tim Heaphy joins us, former lead investigator for the January 6th committee. He's also the founding partner at Heaphy, Smith, Harbach, and Wyndham. That name Smith is referring to Jack Smith in that newly formed law firm. Jeff Mason, White House correspondent for Reuters. Tim Miller, host of the Bulwark podcast and former communications director for Republican Jeb Bush. And Kara Lenig, MS Now senior investigative correspondent. She wrote the book Injustice: How Politics and Fear Vanquished America's Justice Department. Tim, you know you're getting the first question here. Your law firm with Jack Smith just opened this past month. I'm sure everyone on your team was glued to the television watching. What is your reaction to the hearing?
Yeah, I'm a proud partner of Jack Smith, Stephanie, and I want your viewers to understand I'm an unabashed partisan of his. I have immense respect and affection for him, and he acquitted himself and the law firm very well today. Both style and substance, it's important when you're evaluating someone's credibility. I've tried a lot of criminal cases. You evaluate what they say and you evaluate how they say it. And on both counts, Jack was unimpeachably credible, thorough, careful, hard to imagine stylistically, Stephanie, that he could be called deranged. Quite the contrary. He was calm. He was dispassionate. In the face of repeated falsehoods, he never once lost his temper, got short with any of the questioners. Quite the contrary. So stylistically, I think he made a great impression. And then substantively, lawyers are only as good as the facts that they have. And he showed his cards, a full house of evidence that he had developed, he and his team, establishing the guilt beyond a reasonable doubt of the criminal charges that he brought. So I thought across the board, both the demeanor and the substance of what he said, as expected, he did an incredibly good job.